The child who used to be held the most can become the child who is scolded the most. And it often happens without the parents even noticing. Not because the parents stopped loving, not because the first child became bad, but because a new baby arrives. The house becomes louder, the body becomes exhausted, the mind becomes tight, and the heart begins to react instead of respond. If you are a parent, you may feel a small pain in your chest hearing this, because you remember a moment when your first child called your name and you snapped. A moment when your first child tried to show you something and you said, "Not now." A moment when your first child needed you, but the baby was crying and your patience ran out. And later, when the room became quiet, guilt arrived like a heavy blanket. This talk is for that moment. Not to blame you, not to shame you, but to give you a path of mindfulness, compassion, and practical wisdom. A path the Buddha offered to all people who suffer under pressure, who speak too sharply, who regret their words, and who want to become kinder without becoming weak. Now, dear friends, welcome to Buddha Peaceful Mind. May this gentle Dharma talk support your family. May it soften your voice. May it protect the hearts of your children and also protect your own tired heart. In the Buddha's teaching, suffering does not begin only with big tragedies. Suffering also begins in small moments. A small moment of irritation. A small moment of impatience. A small moment of, "I cannot take this anymore." Then the mind reacts. The voice rises. The face tightens. A child's eyes change. And a wound is planted quietly. The Buddha taught that our actions begin with the mind. When the mind is squeezed by fatigue and fear, it produces harshness. When the mind is supported by mindfulness and compassion, it produces gentleness. So the question is not, am I a good parent or a bad parent? The question is, what conditions are shaping my mind today? And what conditions can I change, even a little, to create more peace? Let us look at what often happens when a second child arrives. The baby cries, and the nervous system hears an alarm. The body moves automatically. The mind becomes urgent. The parent's whole being turns toward the baby. This is natural. This is biology. But the first child, who once received that same urgent attention, is now asked to wait. And waiting is hard for a child. The first child does not have adult logic. They do not say, "My parents are stressed. The baby is helpless. I will be patient." They feel something simpler. They feel, "My place changed." They feel, "My parents changed." They feel, "I must do something to get love back." So they become louder, or clingier, or more demanding, or more stubborn. Not because they are evil, because they are asking a question with their behavior. Do you still see me? Do you still love me? Do I still belong? And the parent, already exhausted, hears this as noise, as trouble, as extra work. And then the parent snaps at the very child who is most sensitive, the child who remembers the old softness, the child who is trying the hardest to understand. This is how pain spreads in families, not through lack of love, but through lack of space. The Buddha often taught that when the mind is untrained, it is like a small cup. One more drop, and it overflows. A new baby can feel like many drops at once. Sleep deprivation, hormonal changes, financial stress, a house that never rests. a mind that never fully relaxes. So the first step is compassion for the parent. Not the kind of compassion that excuses harm, the kind of compassion that sees the truth. You are not bad. You are tired. You are overloaded. You are under conditions, and conditions can change. Now, the second step is compassion for the first child, because the first child is also under conditions. Their world changed suddenly. Their identity changed. They were called Big Brother or Big Sister overnight, but their heart did not suddenly become big. Their nervous system did not suddenly become calm. They are still a child. So when you expect the first child to be mature too quickly, you are asking for something they cannot easily give. And when they fail, you punish them for being a child. This is not what you want. So let us bring the Buddha's wisdom into this home. The Buddha taught right speech, speech that is true, speech that is beneficial, speech that is timely, speech that is gentle. When you have 2 children, right speech becomes a daily practice, not a holy idea, because your voice becomes the weather of the house. When your voice is stormy, children shrink or fight. When your voice is steady, children learn safety. So the path begins with a small pause that changes karma. When you feel the urge to shout, pause for one breath, just one. You do not have to become perfect. You only have to create one breath of space. That breath is the difference between reaction and response. If you are listening right now and you feel this is difficult, remember this. The Buddha did not ask you to never feel anger. He asked you to know anger when it arises. Because when you know it, you are not fully inside it. A higher awareness is present, and in that awareness, you can choose. So here is a simple practice for parents. When irritation rises, silently name it. Irritation, tightness, heat. Then soften one part of the body. Soften the jaw, soften the shoulders, soften the hands. Then speak again, but one level lower. Not sweet, not fake, just lower. This small lowering protects your child's heart. Now, let us look at why parents often shout more at the first child than at the baby. The baby is small, fragile, and clearly helpless. The first child looks capable. The first child can walk, talk, and do things. So the parent unconsciously raises expectations. You should know better. You are the older one. You must help. You must be quiet. You must be patient. But the Buddha would gently ask, is this fair? The first child did not choose this responsibility. The first child did not ask to become your assistant. They are still developing. And when you pressure a child beyond their capacity, they resist. Then you pressure more, and the cycle grows. In Buddhism, cycles are fed by craving and aversion. Craving says, I want quiet, I want control, I want things to go my way. Aversion says, I hate this noise, I hate this mess, I hate this demand. When craving and aversion rise together, the voice becomes sharp, the child becomes the target, and afterward guilt rises. So the Buddha's path is to see craving and aversion as states, not as commands. They arise, they change, they can be met with breath. Now let me share a small story, simple and human. A mother had 2 children. The baby cried at night. The older child woke up and began to whine and complain. The mother, already exhausted, shouted at the older child.
Go back to sleep. Stop being selfish.
The older child froze, then began to cry quietly. Later, when the baby fell asleep, the mother saw the older child's face, and she felt pain. She realized her older child was not selfish. Her older child was scared. Scared of the change. Scared of being replaced. So the next night, when the baby cried, the mother did something different. She placed one hand on her own chest and took one slow breath. Then she went to the older child's bed first. She whispered, "I know this is hard. I love you. I am here." Only then did she pick up the baby. The older child still struggled sometimes, but the house became softer. The lesson is not that the baby is less important. The lesson is that the older child also needs reassurance, especially at the moment they feel most forgotten. Now, some parents hear this and worry, but I do not have time. I am barely surviving. This is real, so the practice must be small. The Buddha's path is often small. One breath, one sentence, one moment of remembering. Here is one sentence that can change the whole tone of your home. My child is not giving me a hard time. My child is having a hard time. When you remember this, your voice changes, your eyes change, your hands soften, and your child feels it. Now, let us talk about the 15 minutes that matters so much.
In a child's mind, love is often measured by attention. Not by money, not by big gifts, by attention.
So when you give your first child a small, protected time each day, you are filling a cup that has been leaking. 15 minutes of special time. No baby, no phone, no teaching, no correcting. Just presence. Let the child choose the activity, even if it is simple. Drawing, blocks, talking, a walk. The message is not the activity. The message is, you still have a place. You still matter. You are not replaced. This practice is deeply Buddhist, even if it sounds ordinary, because it is mindful presence. And mindful presence is love. Now, another practice is the apology. Many parents fear apologizing to children. They think it will reduce authority. But in the Buddha's teaching, humility is strength. Apology does not mean you let the child do anything. It means you model responsibility without shame. When you say, "I am sorry I shouted. It was not your fault," you are teaching your child something priceless. You are teaching that love includes repair. You are teaching that mistakes can be owned. You are teaching that the child is not the problem. And this is healing. Now let us be clear. Apology is not enough if the behavior continues unchanged. So apology must be paired with practice. The Buddha taught right effort. Not too tight, not too loose, just steady. So instead of promising, "I will never shout again," which is often unrealistic when exhausted, promise something smaller. I will pause for one breath before I speak. I will lower my voice one level. I will repair quickly when I fail. These are doable. Now, let us talk about comparison. The baby's cry is treated as urgent. The older child's need is treated as optional. But both are needs. One is survival need. One is emotional belonging need. If the belonging need is ignored, it will return as behavior. Tantrums, regression, aggression, or sadness. So instead of seeing the older child as making trouble, see the older child as signaling a need. Then respond to the need, not the noise. This is compassion. Now, the Buddha also taught loving kindness, metta. Metta is not only for strangers, it is for family, and it begins with yourself. Because a parent with no self-kindness becomes brittle. Brittleness breaks into harsh speech. So practice metta quietly during the day, even for 10 seconds. May I be patient. May I be steady. May I speak gently. Then extend to your first child. May you feel safe. May you feel loved. May you feel seen. Then extend to the baby. May you be well. May you be calm. Then extend to the whole home. May this house be a place of softness. This is training the mind. Training shapes speech. Speech shapes atmosphere. Atmosphere shapes children. Now, let us bring in one more story. A story that touches the heart. A father had 2 children. He loved them both. But after the second child was born, he began to feel irritated with his first child. He would snap. He would lecture. He would say, "You are older. You must understand." One day, his first child brought him a drawing. The father, holding the baby, said, "Not now." The child stood there for a moment, then put the drawing down quietly and walked away. Later, the father found the drawing on the floor. On it, the child had drawn the family. There was the baby. There was the mother. There was the father. And the first child had drawn themselves smaller in the corner. The father's heart broke. He realized his child was shrinking inside, not because the child was weak, because the child felt unseen. That night, the father sat beside the first child and said, "I am sorry. I have been tired, and I used my tiredness on you. You did not deserve that. I love you." Then he made a simple commitment. Every day, even if only for 10 minutes, he would sit with that child. No baby, no phone. And over time, the child's eyes softened. The behavior improved. Not because the child was trained like a machine, but because the child felt secure again. The lesson is simple. Children do not need perfect parents. They need present parents. Parents who repair. Parents who see them. Now, some parents are afraid of this truth because it creates guilt. So let us handle guilt wisely. Guilt can be a teacher if it leads to change. But guilt can also become self-hatred. And self-hatred does not help children. It drains you. It makes you reactive again. So in the Buddha's teaching, we use guilt as a bell that says, "Wake up, return, begin again," not a whip. So if you have shouted at your first child, you are not ruined. You can repair today. You can change the next moment. The path is always now. Now let us speak about language, because language can change a home quickly. Instead of saying, "Do not be loud, the baby is sleeping," which makes the older child feel like an enemy of the baby, you can say, "Let us help the baby rest, and when the baby wakes up, we will play." This includes the child. It makes them a partner, not a problem. Instead of saying, "You are the big one, stop crying," you can say, "I see you are upset. You are allowed to feel. Come close." Instead of saying, "You are making trouble," you can say, "I think you need my attention. Give me 1 minute to settle the baby, and then I am with you." Simple shifts, huge impact. This is right speech applied in the kitchen, the bedroom, the hallway. This is Dharma in real life. Now, another important practice is to stop using the baby as a reason to control the older child. Because the older child will begin to resent the baby, and resentment becomes conflict. So protect sibling love by protecting fairness. Fairness does not mean equal time every second. Fairness means the child feels considered. It means the child feels seen. It means the child feels that love is not a competition. Now, if you are enjoying this talk and you want more gentle teachings like this for family life, you can support Buddha Peaceful Mind by subscribing or leaving a like. Not as an obligation, but as a small offering that helps this calm guidance reach other tired parents. Now, let us bring the Buddha's teaching of the 3 poisons into parenting in a very practical way. Greed here is not only about money, it is the greed for comfort, the greed for silence, the greed for things to go exactly as you want. Hatred here is not hatred like violence. It is irritation, contempt, harshness. Delusion here is forgetting. Forgetting that the child is a child. Forgetting that you are tired. Forgetting that the moment will pass. Forgetting that shouting feels powerful, but creates distance. So the path is to notice these poisons early. When you feel the greed for silence, breathe. When you feel irritation rising, soften. When you feel delusion, the forgetting, return to one sentence. My child is asking for love the only way they know. Then choose. This is mindfulness. Now some parents ask, what if my older child truly behaves badly? What if they hit the baby? What if they scream constantly? What if they refuse everything? The Buddha would not say, allow harm. Compassion includes protection. So we set boundaries. But we set boundaries with calm. A boundary is not a shout. A boundary is clarity. We do not hit the baby. I will stop your hands. You are angry. I will keep the baby safe, and I will also help you calm down. This voice is firm, but not cruel. It teaches the child that love can be strong. Now, another practical tool is to give the older child a role, but not a burden. Children often want to help. Helping gives them belonging, but do not turn helping into obligation. Invite help in small ways. Would you like to bring the diaper? Would you like to choose the baby's socks? Would you like to sing a song? Then thank them as recognition. This builds connection. Now, let us speak about what happens when you fail, because every parent fails. You will shout sometimes. You will be impatient sometimes. You will regret. So what do you do then? In Buddhism, we practice confession and renewal, not in shame, but in clarity. So after you fail, do 3 steps. First, regulate yourself. 1 breath, 2 breaths. Second, repair with your child. I am sorry I shouted. You did not deserve that. Third, reflect later. What condition pushed me over the edge? Was it hunger? Lack of sleep? Too much noise? Too many tasks? Then change 1 condition tomorrow, even 1. This is how the home transforms, not by perfection, by practice. Now, here is a small guided moment you can use in real time. If you feel your voice rising, place your hand on your belly or your chest. Take 1 slow breath. Feel the exhale, then speak. This brings you back to the present. It helps you choose right speech. Now, let us remember the heart of the first child. Your first child did not stop being your baby in their feelings. They still want to be held. They still want to be chosen. They still want to be looked at with softness. So give them softness when you can, and when you cannot, at least do not make them the enemy. Because the child will believe what you show them, not what you say in big speeches. They believe your tone, your eyes, your patience. So make your tone your teaching. Now, let us end with a gentle reflection. In the Buddha's path, awakening is not far away. It is the moment you notice your mind tightening and you soften it. It is the moment you want to shout and you pause. It is the moment you fail and you repair. It is the moment you look at your first child and remember, this is a tender heart. This child is learning life from my voice. So I will speak as if love matters, because it does. If this talk helped you, you may share it with a parent who is struggling. A share can be a quiet act of compassion. And if you want more mindful parenting teachings, you can subscribe to Buddha Peaceful Mind, so these gentle reminders can accompany you. Now, let us close with a short blessing. May you have enough rest to be kind. May you have enough space to pause. May your first child feel seen and safe. May your baby be protected and loved. May your home grow softer each day. May your words become medicine. May your hands become comfort. May your heart be patient with your own learning. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free.